Most serious athletes will tell you that the competitive drive to win can be fierce. Besides the satisfaction of personal accomplishment, athletes often pursue dreams of winning a medal for their country or securing a spot on a professional team. This is how the Mayo Clinic staff, a nonprofit organization committed to clinical practice, education, and research, in a 2015 article entitled Performance Enhancing Drugs Know the Risks, described the drive for athletes to use performance enhancement drugs, also known as PEDs, to help their athletic performance. In athletes, performance enhancement drugs are used very often, so high schoolers should know the detrimental side effects of taking steroids and other PEDs. I have researched and read several articles on the internet about performance enhancement drugs while also watching documentaries over how it affects one's life. Because of the detrimental side effects and complications steroids have on one's life, drug tests should be issued throughout middle school and high schools for performance enhancement drugs. First, I will discuss what performance enhancement drugs are and the different types of them. Second, I will discuss the side effects and complications of using performance enhancement drugs. And finally, I will discuss and describe why there needs to be drug tests in school specifically for athletes. To understand how serious steroids are, one must first know what type of drugs are considered steroids. I will discuss what performance enhancement drugs are and the different types of them. Performance enhancement drugs can be related with steroids, meaning that it is any type of drug that helps someone's physical and athletic ability. Because these substances enhance abilities, many athletes take PEDs. According to the Mayo Clinic staff, some athletes take a form of steroids known as anabolic androgen steroids or just anabolic steroids to increase their muscle mass and strength. The main anabolic steroid hormone produced by your body is testosterone. This type of drug helps build up their muscles. Athletes use this type of drug to get bigger for their sport so they can become a better option to be put on varsity, which makes it an even better option to start drug testing. Alongside anabolic steroids, designer drugs also cause complications. As stated by the Mayo Clinic staff, a particularly dangerous class of anabolic steroids are the so-called designer drugs. These are synthetic steroids that have been illicitly created to be undetectable by current drug tests. Athletes think this drug might be a good option, however, when they take them in high dosage, like most do, it ruins their body. Although it does not show up in drug tests, it is a detrimental drug on athletes' health and needs to be banned. Although synthetic steroids damage the body, many athletes still rely on them for performance. CNN, one of the world's leaders in online news and information delivery, in a 2017 article entitled Performance Enhancing Drugs in Sports Fast Facts, states tetrahydrogesterone, also known as THG or the clear, is a powerful steroid purportedly used by such high-profile athletes as track star Marion Jones and baseball player Barry Bonds. This steroid also helps increase physical and athletic ability in the students. Because such high-profile athletes use this type of steroid, younger students in high school feel it is necessary to also take these drugs. Because performance enhancement drugs cause unnatural reactions in the body, they oftentimes cause side effects. I will now discuss the side effects and complications in using performance enhancement drugs. According to the National Institute on Drug Abuse, which supports most of the world's research on the health aspects of drug abuse and addiction, in a 2016 article entitled What Are Anabolic Steroids, states that the short-term effects in people who use steroids cause paranoia, jealousy, extreme irritability, false beliefs or ideas, impaired judgment, and extreme mood swings. These extreme mood swings may also be commonly known as roid rage. By having drug tests for high school students, this will help decrease the use of steroids. In addition to short-term effects, there are long-term effects. As stated by the National Institute on Drug Abuse, the long-term effects include kidney issues or possibility of failure, liver damage, high blood pressure, or an enlarged heart, which can increase the risk of a stroke or heart attack even in younger people. These issues can ruin a person's chance for a long-lasting life. Putting in drug tests in schools a couple times a month will help aid these teens to have a longer life with less health problems. Many long-term effects are universal, but some are gender or age specific. The National Institute on Drug Abuse confirms that in men, effects such as decreased sperm count, baldness, and development of breasts. In women, effects such as deepened voice, growth of facial hair, and changes in the menstrual cycle. And in teenagers, effects such as stunted growth and height appear when using performance enhancement drugs. These side effects can change a person's whole physical appearance and make them look almost unnatural. By enforcing drug tests in high school environments, it will help decrease the chances of developing these issues. Because of the detrimental side effects, drug tests needs to be in every high school. Finally, I will discuss and describe why there needs to be drug tests in school specifically for athletes. According to the Teen Rehab Center that helps parents and family members who are impacted by adolescent addiction, in a 2016 article entitled Steroids in High School Sports states, only about 20% of U.S. high schools drug test their athletes. In schools that do not offer drug test, detection can be tricky. When schools do not use drug tests, it is easier for students and athletes to get away with taking drugs. By enforcing drug tests in high schools, people can diminish the use of performance enhancement drugs. In addition to schools not drug testing athletes, coaches oftentimes cover up any suspected knowledge about these substances. The Teen Rehab Center states that some coaches keep quiet when they suspect athletes using drugs because they fear that lawsuits from the parents of the athlete might result. Coaches do not want negative effects to result from assuming one of their athletes are taking steroids when they might not be. If drug tests are enforced throughout high schools, coaches will not have to worry about wondering if their athletes are taking performance enhancement drugs or not. Because many coaches do not care about substance use, students do not fear taking them. As the Teen Rehab Center states, when students do not fear being tested, they are free to use whatever drugs they think will help them improve their game. Drug tests for high school athletes will put fear back in the athletes taking these performance enhancement drugs. Using fear in students will steer them away from the road that involves drugs and will lead them down a better road that will benefit their lives forever. Drug tests in high school would assist in stopping athletes and students from using drugs and ruining their bodies forever. First, I discussed what performance enhancement drugs were and the different types. Second, I discussed what the side effects and complications were. And finally, I discussed and described why there needs to be drug tests in school specifically for athletes. Middle schools and high schools should enforce drug tests for their students because of the noxious side effects and complications they present. Although steroids help boost performance in people, the lifelong effects of steroids are detrimental.